Welcome to the Voice of Autism Resource Hub. We provide sources offer a comprehensive look at establishing and improving specialized tutoring services for children with autism spectrum disorder, ASD. The first document analyzes the potential market for certified autism tutors in Korea, Japan, and Australia, highlighting the high prevalence of ASD in these regions and advocating for an online business model to overcome geographic and regulatory hurdles. Our tone is empathetic, empowering, and supportive. View this as a guiding first step, not an exhaustive manual.
Effective autism tutoring globally requires a combination of highly specialized clinical skills, structured training, and strict adherence to ethical and safety standards, often underpinned by international certification.
I. Specialized skills and knowledge. Effective tutors most possess skills enabling them to assess the child, design functional interventions, and manage challenging behaviors. Furthermore, modern intervention models emphasize understanding sensory and motor foundations. A. Clinical and behavioral competencies. Specialized tutors, often students in special education or psychology, must demonstrate competency in 1. Assessment and planning. Conducting initial assessments and effectively utilizing specialized assessment tools. Recommended tools include the VB MAP, ABLLSR, AFLS, especially for ages 6 and up, focusing on functional living skills, and the Vineland adaptive behavior skills. 2. Developing an individualized education program, or IEP, and intervention plan based on assessment results.
2. Intervention theories and implementation. Understanding the basic principles of applied behavior analysis, ABA, naturalistic developmental behavioral interventions, NBAI, and Early Start Denver model, ESDM, designing functional lessons covering communication, activities of daily living, ADL, social skills, and transition skills. Mastering the use of alternative and augmentative communication, AAC, such as PECS, Picture Exchange Communication System, and coordinating with speech-language therapists, SLT. 3. Behavior management and safety. Understanding the basics of functional behavior assessment, FBA, and developing behavior support plans, BSP, applying safe crisis management techniques, de-escalation.
B. Sensory motor focused interventions. A critical specialized skill involves looking beyond surface behavior to the underlying sensory motor feedback loop. This requires the ability to analyze behavior root cause, not just asking, what is the child doing, but inferring, why is the child doing that from a sensory motor perspective? This relates to the theory that perceived abnormal behavior is a result of a noisy sensory motor feedback loop. Target the feedback loop. Designing therapeutic goals that focus on stabilizing the sensory motor feedback loop rather than just teaching surface skills. Examples, instead of just teaching pointing, aiming to help the child feel their body in space. Utilize clear sensory feedback. Prioritizing therapy activities that provide strong proprioceptive signals, like pushing a heavy box or combining predictable movement and sound, like rhythmic clapping.
2. Training and certification standards. To operate effectively, especially in competitive global markets like Korea, Japan, and Australia, tutors need formal training and internationally recognized credentials. A. Required certifications. To build trust and compete internationally, tutors should obtain recognized international certificates, such as ABA certificates or Certified Autism Specialist CAS certification from IBCCES.
B. Structured training curriculum.
A suggested minimum training standard includes a course of 30 to 120 hours of theoretical study combined with the practicum of at least 100 to 300 hours of supervised practice. A comprehensive sample training program outlines 160 hours of theory and 200 hours of practicum, covering subjects such as assessment tools and report writing, 20 hours. Basic ABA, NBAI, ESDM, 20 hours. Behavior Management, FBA, BSP, Safety, 16 hours. Parent Coaching and Teletraining, 12 hours. Community Intervention and Generalization, 12 hours, including sensory planning and graded exposure. Ethics, Law, Culture and Coordination, 8 hours.
C. Competency and supervision. Tutors must successfully complete rigorous requirements to demonstrate competence. Supervised practice. Complete at least 80 to 100 hours of supervised one-on-one intervention, maintaining data logs and achieving an inter-observer agreement, or IOA, of at least 80%. Practical tests. Practice 3 to 5 assessments and write 1 IEP report. Practice 10 parent coaching sessions, at least 5 via telehealth, and conduct 10 supervised community outings before acting independently. Ongoing supervision. BCBA or higher-level specialists should provide supervision of at least 1 hour per week for every 10 to 20 hours of tutor practice.
All right, today we are diving into something huge, a really fundamental shift in how we think about and support autism. It's this incredible story that connects a massive global need with some pretty groundbreaking science, and it's all being tied together by technology. So let's jump right in. Okay, first up, I want you to look at this number, 400,000 plus. So what do you think this massive number represents? It's not a budget, it's not some random government stat. No, it's something way more personal, way more significant than that. This is the potential number of kids with autism who need support. And get this, that's in just 3 countries, Korea, Japan, and Australia. Just 3. That number alone tells you we're talking about an enormous and honestly a largely unmet global demand for really good care. So this huge demand, it's creating what's basically a multi-billion-dollar market for specialized one-on-one support. But, to really wrap our heads around the scale of this, we've got to look at the numbers behind the need. Let's break it down. And wow, the numbers are pretty staggering across the board. If you look at South Korea, it really stands out. It has one of the highest prevalence rates in the world. We're talking up to 210,000 children needing support there. And then you've got Japan and Australia, also with these huge populations, each with well over 150,000 kids under 18 diagnosed. Okay, and this is where the story gets really, really interesting. Each of these countries has its own unique dynamic. You see, Australia there, it's a pretty mature market, mostly because of strong government support like the NDIS. But then, look at South Korea. There is this massive gap between the need for qualified tutors and who's actually available. And that gap is driving huge spending from families themselves. So, with this absolutely incredible demand, the big question is, how do we make sure the support is actually high quality? Well, the answer seems to be in this new generation of super skilled, specialized tutors. But what does it even take to become one? Let's dig in. Yeah, this is no joke. Becoming a qualified tutor is a serious commitment. We're talking over 160 hours of coursework, plus hundreds of hours of supervised practice. The curriculum is, well, it's the whole shebang. It covers everything from really sophisticated assessment tools to core therapies like ABA, applied behavior analysis. It's basically a standardized blueprint for what excellence looks like, and this is key. It also includes coaching for parents, which is just a critical piece of the whole puzzle. Okay, but now, this is where things take a really fascinating turn. All that training we just talked about, absolutely essential. But there's a scientific breakthrough that's literally reframing the entire goal of the therapy itself. I mean, think about it. For years, the focus has pretty much always been on observable behaviors, right? But what if the real goal isn't just about teaching a kid how to do a specific skill? What if it's about targeting something much, much deeper? something right inside the nervous system. And that brings us to this fascinating idea, the noisy feedback loop theory. Just imagine picking up a cup of water. Super simple, right? Your brain sends a command, and your muscles in your skin instantly send a message back. Yep, got it. Using the right amount of pressure, we're in the right spot. Well, this theory suggests that for many people on the spectrum, that feedback gets delayed or it's just noisy. The brain doesn't get a clear signal back, so it's in this constant state of surprise, which can create a ton of anxiety and can even lead to repetitive behaviors, because the body is just desperately trying to find a clear signal. And this, right here, is the absolute game changer. The goal isn't just to teach a surface-level skill, like how to stack blocks. It's to help the child's nervous system actually stabilize and self-calibrate from the inside out. You see, when you can reduce that internal noise, all the other stuff, learning, social skills, it can all start to develop much more naturally. Okay, I know this might sound a little abstract, but it leads to some very real, very concrete changes in what therapy actually looks like. So let's take a look at how this new understanding translates into practice. And this just illustrates the shift perfectly. The old way, maybe you'd have a kid practice stacking blocks over and over and over. But the new approach, the one guided by this feedback loop theory, you might have the child push a heavy box across the room. And you might be thinking, why? Well, it's because that action, pushing something heavy, sends this powerful, clear, totally unambiguous signal from the muscles and joints straight to the brain. It literally cuts through the noise and helps the nervous system finally find its footing. Okay, so let's put the pieces together. We have this massive global need on one side and this incredible, groundbreaking, new scientific approach on the other. The final piece of the puzzle is connection, right? How do we actually bring this new kind of support to the thousands of families who need it the most, all across the world? And the answer really is technology. Technology is the engine that's making all this global connection possible. I mean, we're seeing these amazing online platforms connecting families with certified tutors no matter where they live. We have international certifications that create a global standard of trust. You've got AI-powered translation tools just erasing language barriers in real time. Even the simple stuff, like payments, is handled with secure systems like Stripe or PayPal. And some of these custom apps can even use AI to match a tutor's specific skills with a child's unique sensory profile. It's incredible. So when you put it all together, the sheer scale of the need, this profound evolution in the science, and the incredible power of technology to connect all of us, it really makes you wonder, doesn't it? Are we standing right on the edge of a completely new era of autism care, one that's more effective, way more accessible, and just more deeply understood than anything we've ever seen before?
Therapy quiz. Question 1. Based on the market analysis provided, which country is identified as having the highest estimated prevalence of autism spectrum disorder, ASD, among children? A. United States, B. South Korea, C. Australia, D. Japan. Question 2. According to Dr. Elizabeth Torres's theory, what is the fundamental cause of the repetitive or unusual behaviors observed in autism? A. A cognitive inability to understand social expectations. B. An intentional choice to seek specific sensory stimulation. C. A noisy or disrupted sensory motor feedback loop. D. A deficiency in the development of fine and gross motor skills. Question 3. What is the primary government program in Australia that is cited as a major driver of demand for specialized autism tutors? A. The Certified Autism Specialist Program. B. The National Disability Insurance Scheme, NBAI. C. The Inclusive Education Mandate. D. The Australian Special Education Grant. Question 4. Which of the following activities is most aligned with the upgraded therapeutic approach based on Dr. Torres's theory? A. Using flashcards to learn the names of objects. B. Watching a video modeling appropriate play behavior. C. Pushing a heavy box from one point to another. D. Verbally practicing social scripts for greetings.
Announcement. First course for special education teachers / specialized tutors / parents / interventionists who want to understand the 40-80 model plus 100 combos of evidence-based interventions from EBI/EVB, starting from 1/11/2025. Online and free, online and free. Learners who know English, Japanese, or Korean, please notify in advance. Subscribe to the channel to receive the link to the course link.